70,000 people are here, and then Bob Dylan is the reason for it.
Inspired by the true story.
For anyone who's going to hold your attention on stage, it's kind of be a freak.
Are you a freak?
Hope so.
And starring Timothée Chalamet as Bob Dylan. He defied everyone.
Turn it down! Say it loud!
To change everything.
Make some noise, BD.
Timothée Chalamet, Edward Norton, Elle Fanning, Monica Barbaro. A complete unknown. Only in theaters Christmas Day. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for adults with migraine with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents, on average, 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Ask your doctor and visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Jacob Minter. Good job with the shot, and the Slough Jets have taken the lead on the power play. With the shot cross goal. No need for the save from Lorde, and Campbell finds himself in, and it's 3-1 to the Chelsea Chieftains.
Hello and welcome to Zero Pucks Given, the UK Ice Hockey Podcast. We're in partnership with the Hockey Art Co, hockey clothing for hockey people, worn by the best and hated by the rest. Listeners to the Zero Pucks Given network get a 10% discount on everything site-wide at hockeyartclothing.co.uk. Just use the code ZP10. We're also in partnership with Manscaped, the globally recognised male grooming brand, with top-of-the-range products such as the Lawnmower, the Weed Whacker, the Beard Hugger and the Dome Shaver Pro. These products are absolutely fantastic. I use them all myself, just not the Beard Hugger at the moment. And you can get 20% off everything at manscaped.com, including their packages, the Platinum 5.0, all of the creams and the lotions and everything, which just smell fantastic, and they're great to use as well. 20% off of everything when you use the code 0pucks20. And we are also on the Sports Social Podcast Network, the largest sports podcast network in Europe, and we're absolutely thrilled that ZPG, Ice Maidens and Zero Pucks Given is a part of it. Well, welcome along to episode 139. I'm Ben, and this is Zero Pucks Given, and this week we are catching up with Cardiff Fire player coach Elis Sheppard. Elis Sheppard, Cardiff Fire player coach, how you doing tonight, mate?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Yourself?
Very well indeed. As we were just sort of talking off air, I found myself being incredibly busy this week and not able to get too much in. I was hoping to do the intro to this in Welsh, but wasn't sure how far I was going to get with it.
That's okay. I'm not fluent in Welsh, so I probably would have looked at you blankly, so it's fine.
I remember we did have a discussion a few weeks ago regarding sort of Welsh language and some sort of stereotypical efforts of Welsh people that we had a discussion about between me, you and Alex Murray, but I'm sure people know what we're getting at there. But yeah, you did say that there's some lads in the team that do speak Welsh and some that don't.
Yeah, we were fortunate at the start of the season to be covered by S4C, which is our Welsh equivalent at the BBC. And yeah, we have around 3 to 4 lads who are fluent in Welsh, so it was a nice little bit of coverage there on the Welsh channel. But yeah, it's great to see the language still kicking in the team. It's a regret of mine not being able to learn it fluently, but it's nice to see that some of the team know it and can speak it.
Yeah, that sort of exposure that you got on S4C earlier in the year, there was a bit of actual BBC Sport as well for the Welsh Cup, you guys against D-Side. I mean, we've had Danny on since then, and I spoke to the D-Side manager after they took the Cup this year, but them 2 games were bonkers.
Oh, absolutely. Our first game back in NHL 1 against D-Side, and I think we went 3 goals down. I managed to come back and 5-5, and then the return fixture at our place, 4-0 up. I thought we were cruising, and ultimately we ran out, I think, a 11-9 loss, and it was just surreal. It was all offense, no defense that day.
Yeah. As my friend at Banners on the Wall, Anthony Russell, says, why defend when you cannot defend?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, that is an introduction, because I've spoken to lads that have played both North and South, and they've said there is a difference in the style of play between the North League and the South League. So for you guys to come back to this level and then straight away play a team from the North, and then obviously the league fixtures didn't do you too many favours, because I think your first game was at Streatham.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the league. I mean, how did you guys find that kind of? Because it's obviously not the full team from NIHL2. You've made additions, but for you personally, was the level as you remembered it from when you played?
I actually think it's probably improved since, I believe it was 2019-2020. The season of was cancelled halfway through because of COVID. I actually think the standard has improved. There's a lot of young talent which has arose from the last time I played, and especially with the likes of Streatham, who have strengthened with essentially a line of NIHL national players from the Bs. It really is. You really see the standard after a few years away. It has increased massively, and thankfully we were able to pull in some good additions this year as well, with the likes of Aaron Moody, Tom Stevens, Joe Llewellyn, James Matthews, Danny Williams, just to name a few as well, and keep our core guys. So yeah, absolutely. The standard has improved, but I'm glad we were able to retain probably 85% of the same team as last year, but make some valuable additions as well.
Yeah, there was, I mean, in that off-season, there was a lot of media talk that we were getting a Cardiff team in the NIHL 1. Everyone was under the impression it was going to be the Canucks. Was there a discussion between yourself and Hendricks about who it was going to be?
No, there was no discussion. So when I became head coach around 3 seasons ago, we put out a press release about, me taking over the reins from Mark Ledder here. My long-term goal was always to retain that NIHL 1 spot. And it was a case that we had a really good season last season. We reforged ties with our junior development as well. And I believe we actually gave around 8 to 9 boys a chance last year from our juniors who were on 2 ways. And it was a case that we thought we were ready for the jump. The second half of last season, I think we went 9 out of 10 games victorious. Went to Peterborough, who, credit to them, are a very good team, probably running away with NIHL 2 this year as well. And we lost 5-4 with half a team due to injuries and suspension. We only were able to play the one leg, and we thought it was the right time now to make that transition back to NIHL 1 as well, not just for the boys who have played it previously, but just for the longevity of Cardiff hockey at this semi-professional level. And the fact that there will be a pathway for juniors who are good enough to play this level as well.
Yeah, Peterborough this year certainly seem to have added a little bit of flair to how they play, because Nathan Pollard has them they're a dogged team to beat. They can really stick in and get in the D zone and piss you off for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
They seem to have really added some flair this year as well.
Yeah, I know Nathan. I speak to Nathan quite a lot actually still. We remain quite close with regards to coaching tactics. It was both, we were quite novices in coaching last season as well, so we used to bounce ideas off each other, discuss, penalties in games, etc. So it's great to see him doing so well, because he's a great guy and they're running that team really well as well up there.
Yeah, so I mean, my maths is pretty shocking, but so it'd be 2025 next year. So does that make you 27 next year?
I'm 27 this year. I'm 28 in January.
You're 28 in January. So
yeah,
I mean, that is young to be a player coach of a club the size of Cardiff. And you say you took that step 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
What on earth possessed you to do that?
So I was actually the captain for a while, and Mark Cuddihy, the general manager, he's a stalwart in Cardiff hockey. He's been around since, as long as I can remember. And evidently his family have grown up. He's got a daughter who's just started high school as well. So his commitments change, and he asked me to be player assistant coach originally in his last season, and I agreed to it. And then he came to me in the off season and asked if I wanted to take the coaching reign full time. And it's something that interested me. You know, unfortunately, my hockey career, as I say career, but my hockey tenure has been in multiple clubs, from Bracknell to Slough to Cardiff. And ideally, I wanted something that I could give back to that Cardiff junior system to ensure that there was that natural progression pathway for talented kids, and not just talented kids, but kids who have that ability but just need a little bit more work and a little bit more coaching as well. It was something that has always interested me, so that's why I jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, do you look at? I remember when we had Danny on, we sort of spoke a little bit about the Cardiff pathway, because he was really excited by the sort of ethos that you'd set up in the club. That if you look at the news that came out of Sheffield this week, is that something that you look at and think we should have that in Cardiff?
I think it's great what Sheffield are doing with that progression. It's something that I would love to work towards as well, and I'm always open to the idea of the collaboration of everyone. Luckily, I'm in talks with the Cardiff junior coaches, which Paul Malfatti's the head coach. He's spearheaded with a few coaches that I get on with quite well. Ricky Deacon, who used to play for Cardiff Fire as well. They've assisted us with coming onto the bench when we've required a level 2 due to commitments from our level 2 as being away at the time as well. So we are building those relations up. And like I said, we took around 8 to 9 guys last season for the Cardiff Fire, and then the season before I think we retained 2 or 3 as well. So it's definitely something we are building towards as well. And you never know what happens in the off season as well. More talented kids are coming through that progression as well, and there'll be people we take a look at next season.
I say it just seems that obviously hockey's a sport that a lot of people will say gets in its own way. The popular phrase that it's a snake eating its own tail. When you've got that arena there and you've got Devils, Fire, Canucks, Junior Devils, you've got it's there. It's going to take everyone putting their heads together, I think, isn't it, to make sure that works, and it works for everybody, not just for the Devils or for the juniors, but for every team.
Yeah, well, we've had some meetings with the general manager of the Devils as well, and he's all on board for that the progression as well. So it evidently is there. It's just a case that we're just building towards it.
Excellent stuff. So weekend just gone. I did say on last week's episode that obviously Will Fry had put that game as like a pin in it to say we could go here and get points. I knew you'd have a different opinion on that entirely. You did on Saturday what must be the longest away trip in this division between yourselves and Invicta.
I believe so. I think Invicta's 201 miles. I think Milton Keynes is a close second, but yeah, probably the longest journey. And unfortunately, as I alluded to previously, we're around 6 to 8 bodies down currently. Ben Scannon's our starting goaltender, so Gemma Davis has retained the pipes, who has been great this weekend. But yeah, we're Danny Williams down, Chris Kajanov's down, Joe Llewellyn was down on the weekend. Tom Stevens has been long-term injury from Oxford. He started the season, had some really good games, and unfortunately sustained a nasty hand fracture. Luther Daly is out as well currently. Jakob Barnwell was out with concussion. So we knew we were in for a difficult game on Saturday. As I said in the coach's comments, I really liked our game Saturday as well. I think 7-2, we were probably unlucky to come out of that score, but credit to Invicta, they know how to put the puck in the net, and they punished us on our lapses of concentration as well. Yeah, and
Invicta sort of similar maybe to Solent as well. That rink is interesting. They know every square inch of it, and they should never really lose a home game there. It's quite an amphitheatre for them.
Yeah, it's a fortress, and they were running that blackout night as well, which evidently helps with the atmosphere. It's fun to play, and it's a fun rink to play, and I enjoyed it when we used to play the Mustangs last season and the season prior as well. But the history of Cardiff and Invicta means there's something extra to these games as well. So it's enjoyable. Unfortunately, we're on the wrong end of the results, but again, there was plenty of positives. And I know I've said this on multiple weeks, so there are plenty of positives. And I do think eventually something will click for us, and we'll start to see these results go positive for us as well. But yeah, a tough place to go, and we didn't get back to 2 a.m. the next morning.
No, but it's something actually that I think Cliff alluded to in some of his thoughts. I think it was when you guys travelled to Chelmsford, or maybe when they went to you, that everyone kind of goes, oh, God, got that trip to Cardiff. That's every away game for you.
Yeah. I mean, Swindon's basically a home game for us. It's 70 miles, which is still about an hour and a half after you get out of the roadworks in Newport. But it's
British ice hockey, that's around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's our local derby. In football, that would be Cardiff v Newport or Cardiff v Swansea. But yeah, Cardiff v Swindon is our local derby. But no, we know what we sign up for. We know that there is a lot of travel, which encompasses our weekends as well. But credit to the boys, they're committed, and it's hard to lose some games on the bounce, and results haven't gone our way this year, like as I've said. But credit to the boys, they're ready to learn, they're ready to train, and ready to travel as well, and give their 100% every time.
I mean, you did take 3 points on Sunday in what looked like actually a cracking game between yourselves and MK, 5-2, I believe, in the end. You got the 5th goal yourself, actually. But I'd rather ask you actually about the misconduct penalty after Hickman's goal. What was that about?
I mean, one of our players went down with head first into the boards, and he was visibly shaken. So I lost my head a little bit, and it's never nice because the refs are there to do a job, and I can't be losing my head as the head coach as well. But I just asked the question about if it's a head injury, shouldn't the whistle have been blown? But I take the refs' comments on board, and it's something I'll learn from as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that was actually brought up just over a month ago, actually, in the Slough Jets Streatham Redhawks game, where there was an incident just before Streatham scored their first goal, where a player was down with a head injury and the game wasn't stopped. And then there was an incident later when the score was 3-2 and Slough were trying to score, where an opposing player went down with a head injury and the game was stopped. And there was an awful lot of jibes on social media towards the referee, which Ben Painter quite rightly had his say about, to say that, as you say, these guys are there to do a job, and you might get frustrated in the moment during the game. Obviously, Ben's in the same position as you as a player coach, where you've got to keep your heads, but it's the stuff on social media that I think he sort of jibed at, to say, you can't be digging these guys out. Without them, we don't have a game.
Absolutely. When the game's done, it's done. There's no place for the abuse aspect on social media. And I shook Ryder's hand, the referee at the time after the game as well, and apologised for the actions. And it's left there then as well. It's I've learned from my mistakes. He's acknowledged my apology, and it doesn't need to then transpire onto social media as well.
No, absolutely, very well said. So you said earlier you hastened to not use the word career, but I'll use the word career because I think you guys deserve it, the amount of time and effort that you put into this sport. What got you started?
So my dad owns a driving school, and he had someone who was working for him who used to actually drive the Zamboni down the Wales National Ice Rink back in, I was 7, so what's that, 2000? No, not 2000, that would be 3, 2004, yeah. I believe, 2004, 2005, and he offered us free tickets to just go and watch a game, just see how we felt it, and it was love at first sight. Not to use that phrase, I watched the game and I was instantly hooked. Started learning to skate, and then I knew I wanted to play ice hockey.
Excellent. Was it a massive thing in Wales back then? Because you've only really got the Cardiff Devils, I suppose, in the South Wales area. Yeah,
it was large. Don't get me wrong, but football and rugby, they're the two main Welsh sports. More so, I would say football is actually eclipsing rugby at the moment. What with the recent results of Wales national team in rugby and the Wales national team in football, looking to qualify. But hockey has some diehard fans as well, and it's not nowhere near as big as those two sports. But there was always a decent following for the Devils as well. And then, of course, you had the NHL team, or at the time, I believe it was the BNL team, and then the ENL team as well. Maybe not as well known as the Devils, and that didn't take as large of a following, but it was still present. And the WNIR was a special rink as well. The atmosphere there was unmatched.
Yeah, like you say, actually, I think that over the years, the support that the lower levels are getting is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, well, I'm going into my 9th season with the Fire now, and I've seen peaks and troughs, but we have been more consistent with larger crowds as well. So I'm ever so thankful for the Fire family, as we call them. But yeah, definitely the lower divisions. I mean, again, allude to NHL 2 last year. Haringey I think they sell out that place every other weekend. Incredible there. Guildford have started to get a much better following as well. I remember the first season they joined the league. It wasn't what it is now. So yeah, as you said, it's definitely growing. Streatham in NHL 1, they have a great turnout. I know your home rink, Chelmsford. That's a place to play with the atmosphere, with all the fans around the plexi banging the pucks on the glass. It's really intimidating, but it's great.
Yeah, I haven't actually managed to get to a Chelmsford Cardiff game yet this year. I was away for the first time you come down there, and I will really struggle to get myself over to Cardiff, I think, for a weekend game.
Oh, I think I lost you then, Ben.
I think it still carried on recording. You just froze a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Did you? Do you know what bit I got to?
Yeah. No, you were just saying about how Chelmsford's intimidating.
Yeah.
And then I'd said I'll just leave a little gap so I can edit. I haven't actually got to a Cardiff Chelmsford game yet this year. The times that you've come to Chelmsford, I've not been about. And I'd love to come to Cardiff. It's just, it's such a struggle for me. It's so gutting because it's obviously I know as players the amount of effort and time you guys put into it, and I would love to see more than I do, but it's just a time consuming hobby to come and watch, let alone play. As well as doing all this on the side, but it's great to see. As you say, I think your fans travel quite well as well, which we've seen across the year, which is fantastic. And we're seeing more and more of that, as well as we're saying that the lower tiers are getting larger home bases. The away fans is growing massively.
Yeah, well, we've started to take a minibus to away games as well. And it's just the culture that we want. We want that good relationship with the fans as well, where we're mingling. We're not just that project on the ice as well. We'll go for a beer with the fans after the game, or we'll sign autographs or take photos. It's just really what we're trying to build as our product and as our team. We want to be approachable. We want to have people come and support the Fire and feel welcome as well. And yeah, we've definitely reaped the rewards for the past few seasons as well, and especially this year with the away travel contingent as well. It's great to see.
Yeah. So we're back to sort of your sort of style and the way you played. Obviously, you took the coaching role quite early at Cardiff, and you said you were captain before. Have you always found yourself to be that leader type from early on in your playing career?
It's difficult. I would honestly say no. I was the assistant captain in under 10s, which is quite funny. And then I don't think I held a letter until probably under 16s and under 18s. And I actually went back. I went to Slough for my under 16s and under 18s playing years. I was coached by Lee Newman, Benny Lee Newman, Josh Lee Newman's father. Great family. I can't say enough good things about that family. If it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be playing anymore. They used to house me on weekends, gave me the opportunity to play for Slough. I was also playing roller hockey for their team as well down there. So incredible family. I still speak to them regularly. We go for food whenever we're playing each other as well. So it's great to still have that hockey relation as well. But I wouldn't say necessarily that I was a leader, but I thought, again, going back to Lee, I think Lee really brought it out in me.
Yeah, no, as you say, you've got to have some sort of eye for it by getting into coaching as early as you did. As you said earlier about having a level 2 on the bench, are you a level 2 then, or are you a level 1? I'm
a level 1, so we're trying to fast track myself to level 2, but it's difficult. There's the courses which you have to set, and rightfully so. But with my commitments outside of hockey as well, so I'm still trying to study to become for my job. I'm trying to become a lawyer, so that's where my studies really are concentrated at the moment. So unfortunately I haven't been able to fully qualify as that level 2. But fortunately we do have Dan Brabham, who is the ex-Cardiff Devils goaltending coach, and Mike Brabham as well, who was a player for the Devils and has played at every level of British hockey. So both very knowledgeable, both great on the bench as well, and I couldn't do the job without them.
No, obviously I don't know if you're if you'd have seen it or if you're part of it, that Nick Rothwell has the Stick Together tribe on Facebook for people that play and have played in this country. And there's an exclusive podcast that only goes on there, so it's only for the players. And he did speak to Pete Wynn with regards to the coaching and how players can actually get a little bit of an easier access to that. because a few people were just kind of unaware.
Yeah, I'd have to take a listen. I know that you can be fast tracked now. I believe that's something that they put in place. So yeah, I'll definitely give that a listen.
Yeah, I know. Pete's been on ZPG as well, and he's a cracking guy, and he's sort of taking care of the coaching element from England ice hockey. So it's kind of, that's the only way that they're going to do it, is by keeping guys like yourself in the sport to keep the coaching coming. It's, you're not waiting until you finish playing to do it. You're doing it whilst you're still playing, and then if one time comes that you have to finish for whatever reason, you've obviously then got the ability to still step in and coach. Yeah,
and I think you're seeing more player coaches. I think it was at this level, certainly, it was very uncommon, but off the top of my head, like you said, you think of Ben Painter in Streatham, who's reaping lots of rewards there. Nathan Pollard in Peterborough again, who again is a stalwart there and potentially running away with that NHL2 league as well. So I think it's definitely becoming more common as well.
Yeah, I entirely agree, and I think there's players that have been on that have got like a head coach and they've got a player coach, and I've sort of said to them, what's the difference for you? What do you feel's better? And they really like the idea of a player coach because it's a level of understanding, because you're still playing at this level. And whereas, a head coach may not have played at this level for a few years, they may think that, they're not quite understanding what's going on now. So yeah, I think a lot of the guys do actually really enjoy having a player coach.
I like the feel. I like to be out there with the lads as well and know that what's potentially going good and what's potentially not so good on the ice, from my perspective. But it's also beneficial, I think, to have those two sets of eyes on the bench for us as well, who perhaps I'm not doing something correct. I mean, it's easy to give feedback to the team, but if I need to perfect something on my game as well, I would expect both Dan and Mike to give me that feedback as well, because ultimately I am still a player as well, and not everything I do is correct. We all learn, we all make mistakes. So yeah, I think it's vital to have that player coach, but also that bench coach role as well, and to work together. And yeah, again, they have a very good pedigree as well. So I'm very fortunate to have them alongside me.
It's the ultimate epitome of a team game, really, isn't it, hockey?
Yeah, absolutely. If one cog fails, everyone fails.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, obviously you're missing Scanlon through injury. That may actually have been off mic that we said that. But Gemma Davis has been a revelation this year when she's been in the pipes.
Yeah, she's been really good. She plays for Bristol Huskies in the women's division as well. So we have to split her, unfortunately. Well, I say unfortunately, but it's great for her development as well with the female league and us as well. But she's been exceptional. She played really well in Invicta, played really well against Deeside away as well. Was given a baptism of fire in Streatham and held her own as well. And yeah, she got her victory against MK, and it rightfully deserved as well.
Yeah, there's quite a few quite handy sort of GB goalkeepers hanging around for the ladies. I think that's a position that we're going to be quite blessed in the future.
Yeah, I mean, Gemma's never quite made the GB team, but she's certainly going to be knocking on the door.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is, I think that's all you can do, really, isn't it? Is you just got to keep on knocking.
Absolutely, and hopefully get your chance. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're doing this about a week delayed from where we said we were going to do it, but we've still got some questions that came in on the Instagram for you, if you don't mind. There's some
yeah, of course.
There's 6 questions here from one person, who I think sent some in when Danny was on as well. The username is musicbuff952, and she just started with one, which I was a little bit unsure of asking. Do you personally listen to this podcast?
Yes, I listen to the podcast. I listen to the coaches roundup as well. I'm quite interested to see how people react to how they feel their game. It's always interesting how someone's perception of the game can differ to someone else's. So yeah, I do listen to the podcast.
Yeah, that is really interesting, actually. Like you say, when the coaches give their thoughts, and it's when I post it out in the weeks, we are the only podcast in the UK that's got that as well, which I think is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
She also asked, who's been your favourite team to play against this season?
Oh, that is a difficult one. For me, I've always got a special place in my heart for Slough, because I was there for my junior, from 16 to 18. So that's always a special place to play and to play against as well. I do enjoy the Oxford game. the both home and away game. They have some good fans as well in Oxford, and there was a bit of psychological warfare to start. They put photos up of Tom Stevens, Joe Llewellyn, Aaron Moody, Danny Williams all in our locker room for when we walked in as well, which was quite a funny touch as well. Our Bailey Hine picture as well. To be honest, and this is probably going to be a bit of a cliche answer, I'm just enjoying the standard of hockey this year and the increase. So I'm taking every game and every team as they come as well. And I wouldn't be able to specifically individual one team out just because I appreciate how every team plays.
Yeah. Another one is, do you secretly root for other teams in the league?
I'd like to see Slough do well. I think they have a great setup with their juniors. I know we alluded to the junior setup as well, but the oversight of Smithall, who sees, from under 10s all the way to their NHL 1 team, it's remarkable what he's done in that club as well. And it's something that I think more hockey clubs could adapt, is that head coach who oversees the whole of the progression of a child ultimately. I wouldn't say I would root for Slough, but I'm not unhappy if they win.
Especially if it's against a team that's around the bottom near where you are, because at the moment you're sitting in 9th, but you've got so many games in hand on Oxford that playoff position is in your hands, really. Yeah,
absolutely. We've had a really hard start to the season as well. I think we played Streatham twice, Slough twice, Victor twice, Romford twice. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, we've played essentially the top 5 or 6 times teams 2 or 3 times already. So we have MK another 2 more times who are going to be in the same position as us in Oxford as well. They're going to be looking to pick up points. We have Oxford another 2 times as well. Swindon twice more as well. So and Romford, we've run Romford very, very close both games as well. So I'm hoping we can pick up some points from there as well.
Yeah, it's always entertaining against Romford. They're a fantastic team to watch.
Yeah, really good. They got some really good young talents there as well.
Yeah, I didn't even see this question on here. What's your favourite thing about ZPG? Would it be the coach's thoughts?
I do enjoy the coach's thoughts. Yeah, I think it's insightful. It's it's a way that it gives a different outlook on games. And I think as a novice coach, I mean, I've only been doing this for this is my 4th season now. As a novice coach, it's something that I like to consider. And yeah, I do think it's probably the coach's thoughts, which I do enjoy. But again, I think it would be prudent to say that the whole of ZPG, growing the game as well and growing the audience for NHL 1 hockey is probably also one of my favourite bits, because outside of this podcast, NHL 1, NHL 2 doesn't get much publicity from podcasts as such. So I like that aspect as well.
Yeah, it's why I started it, really, was to try and get a little bit more stuff out there. I'd really like to see the teams get involved in streaming as well. I've loved doing game commentary when I've been able to do that, and it's like I say, it takes a fair bit of my time, but it's an absolute pleasure to give you guys the sort of the output that you really need to grow what it is that you do. So yeah, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
No, it's no problem, and I certainly appreciate what you're doing for the league as well. So thank you.
Yeah, I haven't actually had any hate. That's a really odd one. It's been like 2.5 years and I've had no hate yet. So I can take it when it comes. But I've got one from Dill Webb 13. Who's got the hardest shot on Cardiff Fire?
Well, it used to be Dylan Webb 13 until he went to Bristol National. But no, it's probably, we call him Spud, Ewan Davis. He has an absolute cannon of a slap shot. Yeah, I would say Ewan Davis, but definitely not Dylan Webb.
And one from Derek Foote. Do you have a favourite NHL team or player?
NHL team is Washington Capitals. I've supported Washington Capitals for quite some time. My favourite NHL player actually is Drew Doughty. I just like the way he plays. Solid for the LA Kings. I know he's probably coming towards the 10 year of his career now, but he was pivotal in those Stanley Cup run-ins for them as well. So yeah, one of my favourite players.
What Washington Capitals then? Where'd that come from?
I don't actually know. I really don't know. I just started following NHL, and I think it was probably a case that I just watched Washington one day and I thought, right, I'm going to support these, and I've supported them ever since.
Oh man, that's cool. There seems to be like a couple of years ago on here we were discussing like what's the protocol for picking an NHL team. Is it somewhere you've been on holiday or a particular player you like or the team colours? I know that Stanislav Vlasic, although he was actually drafted by Tampa Bay in 2005, is obsessed with the green of San Jose Sharks.
Okay.
The Sharks fan because of that green.
That's interesting. I mean, the Washington Capitals used to have that great Screaming Eagle jersey as well, so maybe something towards that as well, because their alternate jersey this year is legit. It's really nice.
Yeah, I love when they do the retro classics and things like that.
Yeah, they're quality.
Have you got any specials coming with the Fire this year? Any special jerseys?
No, well, not at the moment. No, it's with the Fire, we're just trying to find our feet in this league at the moment. We're still trying to build the product, as I've said. So hopefully something that we look at in the future as well, especially for next season. I know that there's Veteran Day jerseys floating around, Christmas jerseys, Halloween jerseys. It's something that's always in the pipeline and considered. It's just something that we need to nail down the other aspects of the off-ice matter at this stage, and then we'll progress to there.
Yeah, perfect. Well, mate, thank you so much for giving me some of your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I'm so grateful that, obviously, I reached out to you at the start of the season to ask if you would like to take part in the Coach's Thoughts. You absolutely jumped at it, and I'm absolutely thrilled that you've been doing it. As you say, it's so insightful. You're always incredibly honest. You always look for the positive as well, which I absolutely love in when you send your Coach's Thoughts.
No problem, Ben. And again, thank you for reaching out as well. It's great. It's great for British hockey. It's great for NHL hockey as well. And yeah, greatly appreciated. Thanks for your time as well.
No worries. If I can ever get my ass to Cardiff on a weekend, I will absolutely be doing it. There's something that you may, as a Welsh guy, you may like, you may not. I know that when The Only Way is Essex came out, it made me going anywhere in the world a nightmare if you come from Essex. You a Gavin and Stacey fan?
I am a Gavin and Stacey fan, yes.
Been looking forward to Christmas Day then?
Yeah, definitely. Watched all the series, watched the previous Christmas special as well. So want to know what happens on that fishing trip.
I don't think we're ever going to find out.
Probably not, but hey, makes good TV.
Well, I was saying this to my daughter the other day because she's a massive Gavin and Stacey fan. She was saying, I want to find out. And I said, the thing is, when the series came out like 15 years ago, or however long it was, probably more than that, they could have actually given a bit of a savage answer to what happened on that fishing trip. And I don't think they can now.
No, probably not.
The world has changed so much that if they told you what happened, like with today's restrictions as such, it would probably be a letdown.
Yeah, potentially. It'd probably be something that was built up, and then it's just probably nothing then. So yeah, I think the pondering is probably what makes it so funny as well. So yeah, hopefully we don't find out, but a part of me does want to as well.
Yeah. So you got a good family Christmas plan, getting a bit of time off, and hopefully getting some lads back from the injury roster?
Yeah, so we're hoping that most of the lads will be back now for January. Tom Stevens should be back for January now, which is great. Danny's towards his recovery as well. So, two vital cogs in our team as well. Yeah, Christmas time, just spending time with the family as well. They give up so much for me personally to, just help with hockey as well. That's my parents, my grandparents, my fiance. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Some time to rest and recuperate as well. What about yourself?
Yeah, just lots and lots of family coming here. We did travel every now and again because my wife's from the Midlands, so we used to sort of split it. I always have my family on Boxing Day. We always go into London to see the rest of my family. But this is the first year in about 5 years I'm not working over Christmas, so I'm actually looking forward to a little bit of time off with my daughter. We're going to go to London and do a bit of shopping and hang about. And there is, I don't know, you may be able to see some of the stuff that's behind me on my shelf. I'm a massive Batman fan.
Cool.
There's a sort of a Batman exhibition in Covent Garden in London at the moment where they've got a load of movie props and vehicles and stuff like that. So I'm going to go and nerd out there for a day.
That's cool. Christian Bale or Robert Pattinson?
Oh, between them two, it's actually probably Robert Pattinson. I think he's good, but over that it's Michael Keaton.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm about, I'm nearly 15 years older than you, so I've got a different perspective on it. Yeah, it's all Michael Keaton. But I did enjoy the Robert Pattinson one because for years it's, we're getting into a whole other conversation here, but it's, Batman is a horrible story.
Yeah.
A horrible, dark story. And the Robert Pattinson film is the one we've been waiting for because it's 15 rated, it's a little bit darker, and I think that's what it needed. It's not the Avengers, it's not colourful, it's not one-liners, it's a horrible story.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it as well. I went to the cinema with my fiance to watch it, and we both really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well written. I didn't know how Robert Pattinson would be. I mean, he was in Twilight, wasn't he? But he executed it perfectly, and that the sort of psychological element of the Riddler as well, I thought was exceptional.
Yeah, I think Paul Dano stole the show in that. He was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he was really good. No, really enjoyed it. But I mean, Christian Bale's Welsh, isn't he? So I've got to give him the edge.
I do really enjoy the voice that he does. I think that's really good because Michael Keaton's whisper had a haunting, terrifying sense to it. But yeah, the voice change from Bale is pretty good. And I've always liked that they actually they explained where he gets all that stuff from.
Yeah, I think they're really well written. I mean, The Dark Knight is probably my favourite film. I thought Heath Ledger's Joker was incredible. Yeah,
really, really good. I really like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, to be honest. I've not seen the second one yet. I've actually heard different reviews from the Joker Part 2. But the more psychotic, the better, as far as the Joker is concerned for me. But,
absolutely.
I did this with Joe Scutts and Chris Beale when we reviewed the season a couple of years ago, and we just all of a sudden burst into Star Wars. And we went on for about an hour about Star Wars. Ended up cutting it out and saying we need to do a different podcast about other stuff like that.
I like Star Wars, but the original 6, I'm not so keen on the last 3.
Oh, I'm more just original 3. I don't really even like anything after that. But yeah, no, as I said, we could do a whole other episode on stuff like this. I think I think my wife will go mad if I start another podcast.
No, but yeah, I mean, it's nice to have a bit of a hobby outside of hockey as well, isn't it? So. Oh,
absolutely, yeah. And sitting in here talking to myself, it's brilliant. Elis Sheppard, thank you so much for your time, mate. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, cheers, Ben. Thank you.
A massive thank you to Elis for giving up his time to come onto the podcast. As we said there, I reached out to him in the off-season to just check if he wanted to be part of the Coach's Thoughts. He absolutely jumped at it, and we absolutely love having his opinions on there week in, week out about how the Cardiff Fire are getting on. As he said there, I think they've had a bit of a slow start. The fixture list wasn't the kindest to them. I think everyone's got to get used to that long travel, which obviously they have to do for every away game. But it certainly is making a difference, I think, to how they're progressing. But I really do think that they'll probably catch Oxford. They may well even finish 7th, I think, if they put a good run together and especially beat Swindon in those local derbies, as we said there. But yeah, absolutely fantastic chat with Elis. Really, really nice lad. Fantastic to have him on the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. As I may have said in the last roundup, next week we will have a roundup episode from the games that are taking place on the final weekend before Christmas. So that will technically be the Christmas special. I don't think we'll have a guest coming in before Christmas, but you never know what we might spring. So thank you so much for listening. See you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.